Come, mortals. Enter my realm, if you dare.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. Thank you for joining me here today with the rest of my 6.1 walkthrough. This is going to be for the main scenario, and I feel like we're getting near the end. I think that we're about around quest 6 or something like that. Anyway, doesn't matter. So we are nearing the end, so I think it's either this one or the next video that's probably going to wrap up the main scenario, and then I think we'll move on to the myths of the realm, as well as the rest of the role quests that we have here, like the finale for the role quests. And I think those are like the major things for right now. Hildebrand doesn't come out yet. The new quest series, the custom deliveries quests don't come out yet. Most of that fun stuff will probably be coming out, I would say, around July, around where 6.15 comes out. Anyway, let's go on and continue with the next part of the story. If you remember last time, we learned a bit about Vrtra's history, as well as his sister, Azdaja, who apparently did a noble sacrifice during the war with Alag. When she answered Tiamat's call, she dove straight into the Void Gate to try and take care of all the Voidsent, like the army of Voidsent that Alag had at their command, but it closed up behind her. And Vrtra has been searching for a way to reunite with his sister, and he eventually settled I think the reason he settled here in Thavnar was because he found that planar fissure, which could lead into the 13th shard. Because after the city was built, he was able to communicate with the alchemists. They did a lot of research, a lot of study, trial and error, and they were able to create a fully functioning void gate. Problem is, it was very, very small. Only a small child could probably fit through it, and he did try to go through it using like one of the simulacrums that he created. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to get too far in the void because as soon as he stepped through, he was accosted by like countless Voidsent who were clamoring to get out of the void, basically, because Voidsents feed off ether, and there's really not much left in the void because they pretty much devoured all of it. Meanwhile, the source is still rich with ether, so it's kind of like a giant buffet for starving people. They are going to be going straight through that door. And he realized that it was just far too dangerous. He couldn't risk the lives of Razat Han and decided to have it closed up. But now that we know like the true fact about Azdaja, there's no way that we're just going to let this go, are we? No. So we're probably going to find a way to help him, reconnect with his sister. I mean, we don't know what happened to her after she dove through the gate, so whether or not she can be saved is hard to say right now. Anyway, let's just move straight on into the story. So we're picking up immediately where we left off. So we're back outside the palace here after we helped them kind of distribute all the money that we got from the treasure vault. So the next quest is Bridging the Rift. The veteran Radiant wishes to share his gratitude. Sorry if that was a long-winded explanation. I couldn't help it. Okay. Thank you for putting forth Kazal's name. Those whose lives he enriched will take comfort in seeing his legacy honored. You will forgive me for not speaking sooner, but I bear a message from Archon Ystula. She asks that you meet her at the High Crucible at your earliest convenience. Understood. Thank you. Ystula must have finished her study of the Void Gate. Shall we hear what she has to say then? I mean, I'm for it. I don't know what she's going to say. I will go with you. I'm not gonna lie, he's adorable. I thought the satrap would be too busy setting up the foundation. My clerks have been the well-oiled cogs of the administration since before Ahi-1 assumed the office. They understand what needs to be done. And I'm curious to learn what conclusions your Archon has reached concerning the gate's unique construction. As you wish. Allow me to lead the way, Your Excellency. I love seeing like the budding relationship between Estinian and Vrtra. You can find your way to the High Crucible, I trust. I must rejoin my units and assist with bringing the city's orphans. Okay. I have to know what's going on here. But yeah, as I was saying, I really do like that Estinian. I mean, he's kind of like the ambassador for dragons now. Like, he honestly seems to care a lot about Vrtra. They kind of have like this mutual respect. Despite the fact of everything that happened with Nidhogg and everything, I mean, it's kind of a complicated relationship, but at the same time, it's like a budding respect with each other. I mean, I don't know why Vrtra suddenly asked that Estinian help teach the Radiant Host Lance work all of a sudden. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, let's see what Y'shtola has to say. The one who claims it is too late to save his sister. Vrtra seems awfully interested in whatever revelation Y'shtola might have to share. Shall we hear what your scholarly comrade has to say? Okay, Y'shtola, what do you have for us now?
Right, here we all are.
You discovered something new.
I took a closer look at that device. I was able to determine how it keeps the Void Gate sealed, but not how it might instead be employed to expand the opening. For that, I would need to reference the technique developed by Vrtra's alchemists, no records of which appear to have survived the intervening years.
We know this, so why have you sent for us? Have you learned aught of value or not?
Patience, good sir. One must introduce the subject before launching into specifics. From what we understand, travel between worlds is accomplished by passing through the nebulous rift which exists between them. Picture, if you will, the moment you were called to the first.
Yeah, that was a wild ride.
You touched a focus of some kind to help the Exarch pinpoint your location. His summoning spell then channeled the energies of the Crystal Tower to begin your journey to his world. The magics tore a hole in the wall separating source and shard, and cast you into the intervening nothingness. In that place, the laws of nature hold no sway. Yet even through this realm of temporal and spatial instability, you were borne safely to your destination in the first.
Barely.
The feat that guided you across such an unimaginable distance, both physical and metaphorical, was nothing short of a miracle.
Then what of the many voids sent found in the source? Who guides them here, and how?
An excellent question. Though there are several methods by which the Void's denizens might intrude upon our world, the rituals of summoning are the most typical. For example, let us consider the Gargoyle, a creature of middling power.
That takes me back. That was like our first instance duty in a realm reborn, doesn't it? Ah, so that's this cutscene.
call upon such an entity, the prospective summoner must force open a void gate. The portal lasts but a moment and is relatively small, allowing only an imp or other lesser being to squeeze through with their physical body intact.
Is this the void?
Our more powerful gargoyle, however, is too large for that. Creating a gate big enough for him would require vast amounts of energy, far beyond the reserves of any one mortal practitioner. Instead, 'tis far more common to bring over only the entity's soul. We had a taste of that ourselves when a certain exarch dragged us to the first.
She's never gonna let him live hear the end of that, is she? This is interesting.
And just as our bodies remained in our world, the Void Sense physical form is left behind in the 13th.
That's why we have the statues.
Once at its destination, the summoned soul is granted a temporary shell to inhabit. In the gargoyle's case, a stone effigy has proven a suitable vessel.
Fascinating.
Wait. You said that Voidsent must be called here deliberately by someone in the source, reeled in like a fisherman with his catch.
Exactly. For a being to navigate the chaos of the rift, with or without form, there must needs be a guiding agent on the other side.
When the hordes poured forth from Alag's Great Gate, it was the technologists who drew them through. Though to my knowledge, planar fissures are in essence natural passages between our world and the void, which require no such guidance to traverse. Why is only the boundary between the source and the 13th so fragile? So much so that it often tears open of its own accord.
That is a good question.
I believe solving that mystery is key to understanding travel between the source and its reflections.
And how do you intend to get your answers?
No, the danger is too great.
Don't tell me.
Perhaps, but what some call danger, others think of as adventure.
No, we're not going to the void again, are
Were you
we?
not listening to my tale? Never mind that the means to expand the gate has been lost to the ages. Even could you force the portal wide enough, you would be greeted by an army of murderous horrors the very instant you step through.
I assure you I was most attentive, and I agree that to go alone would be certain death. But if I were to bring along one who has already braved the 13th and humbled the cloud of darkness, well, I imagine my chances would be much improved.
No way. Oh. Well, thanks so much for taking it easy. I was going on a treasure hunt and now it leads to this.
Since when were you one for the quiet life?
Fair point. Can't argue with that.
Once again, I put my life in your ever-reliable hands. That said, as much as I would like to march straight back to the Void Gate, There is the small matter of being unable to open it without the Satrap's personal authority.
Okay, what's gotten into you lately, Y'shtola? Really?
As I've said before, I will grant you and yours any boon you choose to name, provided it does not endanger my people.
You have my word that we will take every precaution. Not a single voidsent will be allowed to threaten Radzat-Han, assuming we manage to expand the portal in the first place.
You have a plan.
Actually, I had hoped you might help us with that. I presume the alchemists you retained supplied you with some explanation of their methodology.
That they did. House Daimir was overseeing the project.
Daimir. Ah, yes. The family associated with the great work.
I did not fully comprehend the theory, but their research began with a voidsent which had slipped through the fissure. After a thorough examination, they created an arcane simulacrum possessed of similar qualities. A man-made voidsent, if you will. It was apparently indispensable in their efforts to enlarge the gate.
A man-made one?
A man-made voidsent?
The word out of my mouth. How do you do that? I'm guessing a familiar, but...
Yes. Being great admirers of the Archons, House Daimir submitted detailed notes to Charlene's official committee. They expected praise and accolades for their simulacrum, and were thus devastated to be informed that their work had been classified as prohibited material.
Well, you can't really blame that.
If that's true, then those notes might still be stored in a forbidden archive somewhere. Not Google, of course, since that library had yet to be built. Which leaves us with...
Numenon. Graha's favorite place to sneak around, but the restricted section of Numenon.
Yes, it may very well hold a copy.
If not the original.
In which case, I say we head directly to Charlene.
Unless you anticipate needing help to reach the high shelves. I see myself being of little use. Go on ahead. I still need to find Mirad and tell him about the Khalzal Foundation.
Of course he would be focusing on that right now. He said
Let
just
us be
stop
on
me.
our way as well.
They are resolved to venture into the void. Do I sit idly by?
I mean, if you want to rescue your sister, this is probably their best option. But seriously, am I the only one here who thinks this might not be the best idea? Like, am I the only one here who senses great potential danger? I guess we should just leave him alone for a while to think it over. I mean, this is probably going to be his best chance of being reunited with Asdaya. I still sometimes get her name. I don't know. Asdaya. That's her name. Asdaya. Okay, it's good. It might take me a while to fully remember it. I don't know why. But I don't know what's with Y'shtola all of a sudden. I mean, I get that she's like an eager scholar and everything, but she seems like almost out of character. Well, she's in character, but a little bit out of character. Like, I'm kind of glad that they are focusing a little bit more on the Scions right now, so, because she does feel like she's been neglected recently, like, especially after everything that happened with Shadowbringers. What can you do? If we're to enter Numenon's restricted archives with a minimum of fuss, then we must secure the permission of the Forum. First, however, we shall need to enlist the cooperation of a member to broach the matter on our behalf. Who do you think might be inclined to assist us? Well, since we saw the image of you talking with Monty-chan, then sure thing. One springs to mind. What of Scholar Monty-chan? He did come to Graha's defense during the inquiry, after all. This settled. Let us head to Phenomenon and see if he's willing to help us once more. Oh, she's accompanying us now. That's a first. Well, with Y'shtola, anyway. If I was pressed to name our allies in the forum, Skarilak Monty-chan would certainly be at the top of the list. Hopefully he agrees to aid us with our request. Well, I don't think it would be too hard, because, you know, we did save the world. This is the least that the forum could do. Of course, if they find out that we're trying to get into the restricted section because we want to open up a void gate, that might be a little bit more tricky. But seriously, like, I was so convinced that we were going to be going to, like, Mericidia or the New World for the next expansion, but right now it kind of feels like we're setting up to go into the Void. But I don't know how an expansion going to the Void is going to help. The reason if we were able to make it work with the first is because it was just the one continent that was left. Everything else had been wiped out by the Flood of Light. Here, like, unless there's, like, some kind of... There's something that we don't know about the Void, everything kind of fell to darkness. I mean, there's, like, really no safe place that we can actually go to in the Void. Like, no kind of cities or anything. Oh, actually, that might be an interesting topic. Yeah, I think I found, like, a subject for my next prediction video. That's gonna be fun. Discuss the studium. I apprenticed to Master Matoya at the age of 7 and labored under her tutelage for a full decade. I never had the chance to attend the studium, neither did Thancred, as I recall. Soon after Master Louis Soir took him in off the streets, he was put in the care of another Archon. He was a rigorous and practical education in the arts of espionage and survival. I sometimes wonder what my life might have been like had I pursued studies here instead. Tea at the last stand after a day of lectures? Sounds like something she would do. Oh, that does sound lovely. Afternoons with friends, spent sipping tea and debating theories. Still, I wouldn't give up my time with Master Matoya for the world. The tank cave I studied in was about as far from the bright, airy halls of academia as one could get, but it was a wondrous, magical childhood nonetheless. Aww. She really does love her. I just want to see what her second option would be. Should I wonder as well? Oh, never mind me. It was just an idle thought. That's it? Oh well. Okay, let's go. There he is. Ah, visitors, and quite esteemed ones at that. So what may I do for you? Well, you can kind of help us get into the restricted section so that we can learn how to open up a void gate. Just offhand, right there. Pray forgive the intrusion, Skarilak, but we were hoping you might help us secure permission to enter Numenon's restricted archives. Oh, no furtive forays into the stacks this time, eh? I applaud this newfound sense of propriety, yet in all this wide world of comparative serenity, what so compels you to disturb a vault of forbidden wisdom? Well, who wouldn't want to disturb a vault of forbidden wisdom? That sounds like a hell of a good time. Fascinating. I had no idea such a technique existed. I would have been surprised if you had. If my assumption is correct, the research left behind by House Demir has laid dormant in Sharlayan's archives for many centuries. And if you unearth this research, what then? Surely you don't intend to cross over into the void. That is, in fact, precisely what we intend. To what end, pray tell? To develop a method of traversing the rift, for one that I might keep my word to a distant friend. Aww. Sentiment aside, I have journeyed to the end of existence. I have heard, felt, and thought endlessly about the truth of our world and the echo of its future. And yet I want to understand everything, to unravel it all down to its very last secret. What scholar worthy of the name wouldn't force open a void gate or two if such a grand revelation was the promised reward? Marvelous. An audacious proposal worthy of Master Matoya herself. And after hearing the whys and the wherefores, I for one do not believe you would use the knowledge for ill. I see no reason not to present your request to the forum's consideration. Although your petition would be better received if you also had the support of another well-placed acquaintance. Here we go. Why, Master Fortuno, of course. He can hardly ignore an earnest request from his dear children's most treasured comrades. I was hesitant to approach him directly, but there is no denying that having Master Fortuno on our side would tip the balance in our favor. Very well, we'll pay a visit to the Levier estate and plead our case. One last thing before you go. I would consider it a personal favor if you might share with me the discoveries you make in the void. My appetite for knowledge is every bit as insatiable as yours, I'd wager, so if you could see your way to indulging an old man's curiosity... I mean, if you want to come with us, by all means! Of course, Skylark. We will be sure to pass on any revelations. That's a cute idea. You know, having Y'shtola retire in the first, alongside Runar. Form can be a cankerous beast. One needs a persuasive voice to get it moving in the desired direction. That's true. Especially when there's so many. Monkey Chang seems optimistic, but I doubt convincing Fortuno to champion our cause will be as simple as showing up on his doorstep. I don't know, I mean... I feel like we're getting somewhere with him. I mean, at least he doesn't seem to hate us, like, as much as he used to. Like, it was clear he really did not like us. And I think he kind of blamed us because of his children's, you know, change in behavior. Like, he probably saw us as, like, the bad influence on them. I want to use the ether rights for once, but I can't remember if they changed it so that you can actually still use it and keep your traveling buddy here still at your side without having to start all over. Oh well. Okay. At least we don't have to go too far. Again, I don't think it would be too difficult, because, I mean, we saved the world. I mean, the forum could do us, like, the small little favor. I mean, if the twins were with us and they wanted to go leaping into the void, I think Fortuno might have something to say about that, but... yeah, if it's just us, then I don't think you would really mind nearly as much. It's sad, but true. Say I'm wrong. When I'm happy, I talk a lot. I just kind of rant to myself, so hope you don't mind too much. Then again, you probably learned that long ago if you've been watching my videos. Mistress Claire, Mistress Y'shtola, how may I be of service? We come to speak with Master Fortuneau. Is he home by any chance? Yes, the master is in residence. I shall inform him that he has guests. Hopefully we'll find him in a good mood. Which is so rare. Well, well, Emilians would invite you inside for tea, but I assume this is not a social visit. You have some matter of import to discuss? Then pray proceed. You have my full attention. Well, I suppose I should praise you for following the proper protocols this time around. Scarlet Montajanga expressed much the same sentiment, I assure you. Will not attempt to circumvent the forum's authority again, unless it is absolutely necessary, of course. Of course. You do understand that the restricted archives are restricted for good reason, yes? If no pressing need exists, then why risk the consequences of employing this forbidden knowledge? For a brother who misses his sister, she was his guardian and his friend, a selfless hero who crossed the rift between worlds to save her homeland from horror and suffering. But the brother has given up on thoughts of reunion. He spends his efforts elsewhere, watching over people yet healing from the flames of the final days, loyal to his duty while betraying the longing in his heart. Oh, don't do this to me. There's no vital mission, perhaps, reuniting these siblings, but it feels a worthy cause to pursue all the same. As one who feared losing his own loved ones and spent years in research to prevent it, surely you appreciate how painful such a separation must be. Oh, she got him. Reflections are still very much a mystery to us. Offering to share your experiences in the first should constitute a fair exchange for our cooperation. Do not celebrate just yet. The forum must still be convinced. I will add your request to the list of today's deliberations and deliver the decision to you at the Baldessian Annex. Wow, that went well. Oh, that went very well, all things considered. The matter's out of our hands. All that remains is to return to the Annex and await word of the forum's decision. I mean, I'm still not sure how I feel about too many people knowing about the other reflections, because, I mean, that's going to cause people to want to visit these other reflections, and that could spark all kinds of trouble in so many ways. Like, wars could start, it could, like, upset the balance and everything. It's going to be dangerous, like, trying to cross over to other worlds. I mean, I know Y'shtola is looking for a way, but that in itself is probably going to take a long time, but... yeah... I don't know how I feel about this whole thing. Like, maybe they're supposed to be separated for a reason. That's just me, though. I mean, I get the fact that I want to explore it. I mean, I know that's kind of hypocritical, but hey, just one person exploring a whole new world. I mean, where's the harm in that? If anything, we'll probably end up saving it a few dozen times before we leave. So really, it's kind of in everyone's best interest that we, at least, are able to travel to other worlds. And I think Fortuneau's gonna come through for us. I think he's gotten to a level that he, I guess, tolerates us. Oh, here we go. Oh yeah, I could accept the, unlock the Myths of the Realm here while I'm at it. Probably not, though. So, what did the forum decide? To put it bluntly, Master Matoya has burned some bridges here in Charlie and insulted the earth for good measure. When it became clear that her student was the petitioner in question, well, no few members voiced their discontent. Then the chamber was reminded, in no uncertain terms I might add, of the incredible debt we owe to you and your companions. I wonder who did that. That served to silence the grumbles and stiffen a few spines, and it was agreed that allowing you entry to the archives was the least we could do in return. This is wonderful news. Thank you both for speaking on our behalf. Yes, well, as I am sure you are aware, this permission was not extended lightly. Forbidden knowledge is to be treated with the utmost caution, and there would be repercussions if it is not. I wish you well in your endeavor and bid you good day. I guess that's his way of saying you're welcome. Same as ever, that one. Uncompromising? Aye, but that very stoicism is exactly what Charlian needed to guide it through not one, but 2 exoduses. I think he likes us. He doesn't want to come out and say it, but I think he likes us. Okay. If I were but 5 years younger, I'd cast aside my lectern and join you on your adventures in a heartbeat. Aww. I mean, you can still come. That went rather well, I think. As a child, I dreamed up any number of schemes for getting my hands on those forbidden tomes, and now I can simply walk in through the door. Our focus will be on finding House Demir's research notes, of course, but the thought of so much knowledge at my disposal has me feeling a little giddy. Yeah, let's not get too carried away, Stola. You're starting to scare me a little bit. Restricted reading. Monty-Chang is waiting to offer you further instructions. We'll be heading directly to the archives from here, I presume? You presume correctly. Then you'll want to speak with the index page when you arrive. It has been instructed to grant you access to the restricted section. Excellent. Once again, we thank you for all your help. Oh, it was my pleasure. Believe me, may you find the knowledge you seek. I like him. Shall we? Okay, she's accompanying us again, so we have to take the long way there, I guess. Oh well. Come along, Claire. Numenon and its forbidden wisdom awaits. Okay, I can't wait. But I'm really curious about like this artificial void sense. I think they definitely created a familiar. I mean, that seems to be the answer to most things here. Just create a familiar to do the hard stuff for us. Okay, check the reading. I think a set of instructions I laughingly imagine may actually exist, but yawns away from where you found me napping. If I'd known of Asadal III's exploits sooner, I could well have saved myself days of research. Even a children's book might have pointed me in the right direction. To achieve the impossible, one must needs be flexible of mind and look beyond conventional wisdom, a lesson I had already learned, but clearly not taken to heart. Okay, the index page. Archon, Y'shtola, and Gus identified. Do you wish to proceed into the restricted archives? Follow me if you would. Watch your step, and please note that the use of naked flames is discouraged. I'm sure it is. Oh, I can't wait to see what this place looks like. Ooh, smaller than I thought it would be.
If House Damia's notes are to be found anywhere, it will be here. Let us begin.
I wonder if we can still come back here even after we complete this quest. This is a nice little room. Okay, I guess it's gonna be a lot of reading now. Maybe we should have to keep an eye on Yastola. Make sure she doesn't swipe something. So many books I've yet to read. Yes, we're here for one specific volume. You needn't remind me. There's just no harm in looking around a little bit first. Okay, let's go up here. Okay, there's about 3 levels. Lady Tome. In the year 1564 of the 6th astral era, the Amaja summoned Ifrit, their patron god. Accounts describe the being as a gigantic lizard-like being with a potent command of the fire-aspected magics. If we consider that primal summoning is an act fueled by faith and prayer, it is unsurprising, if not expected, that the resulting deniform entity should manifest the appearance and powers with which it attributed by its worshippers. What then might emerge from the ether should one who believes in an almighty omniscience attempt the same ritual? Would the scholar himself grace us with his presence, some other embodiment of divine sagacity? Could this man-made god truly be all-knowing? If it were, whence would such knowledge arise? I myself have many questions concerning the nature of the ancient world. With no spell to transport me back to the days of old, could I instead summon as a being possessed of encyclopedic wisdom of every age? Yet with no means to verify its pronouncements, how could one be certain that they were true? That is a very good question. Though your mind spins with the possibilities discussed therein, this does not seem to be the volume you are seeking. Okay. Leather-bound log. Following past pages detail an advanced method for manipulating rift-spanning apertures as devised by Nuhashan, the 9th patriarch of House Damir. We present these research notes to the faculty of Charlian Studium as both a token of our friendship and an expression of our boundless admiration. You appear to have located the forbidden volume you seek. Should you will need to make the final confirmation. Okay. And can we still read that last one below? No, we can't, can we? Darn! I wanted to read that one too. Oh well. Has something you'd like to show me, do you? My apologies, I flipped open but a single book and was completely absorbed by the contents. Well done, Claire. I think you may have found our prize.
Yes, the ether signature is unmistakable. I've felt the traces of House Damia's resonance many times at the Great Work. Time to see what all the fuss was about.
Has she actually been to the Great Work? I'm actually curious now.
Among the ranks of the Void Sent, there exist entities with the power to call forth their brethren from beyond. The species known as Atomos, however, is uniquely prodigious in this regard.
Atomos.
From its distended maw, it can expel an endless procession of void-born creatures. A talent which sorely tested the Radiant Host in its battles against these abominations. Surmising that the entity itself was acting as a void gate, we endeavored to capture a small specimen and subsequently examine its physiological structure. Our findings reveal that the Atomos had absorbed a planar fissure into its own flesh, which it could expand at will into a functioning gate.
Wow. Of course.
Upon further analysis, we identified an ethereal wave pattern emitted during this process. A pattern we were able to emulate by passing crystal-stored ether through a specially designed prism. We proceeded to embed said prism into an arcane simulacrum, thus completing what we have dubbed our artificial Atomos. How could I have been so blind to the possibilities? This species, not to mention its ability to summon void scent, has been discussed among academics for years now. Just before the advent of the 7th Umbral Calamity, we received reports of Atomos sightings from every corner of Eorzea. Surely you've at least heard the tales.
Oh, I have heard of them.
And still, House Daemir went and built a mock Atomos of their very own. I'm not surprised the Archons consigned their work to a restricted archive. It was no easy task, but at last we've unearthed the volume we've been searching for. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't tempted to stay longer. See what other forbidden titles might be lurking on these shelves? Ah, but that would be abusing the very special privilege we've been granted now, wouldn't it? Better not.
Yeah, you're kind of pushing our luck right now. Oh my god. I mean, we've gone to the World of Darkness before. We fought against Atomos before. We even have, like, our own little mini version of it. Like, I don't think it's a wind-up minion either. But... oh... that reminds me of Final Fantasy XI, where we were able to travel back through time with the powers of an Atomos. Isn't that right? Oh my god, I can't believe we didn't think about that. But yeah, I heard the stories about how Atomos would appear like right beside like Ethernet shards, and apparently there was like a limit to how much you could actually travel back then. As much as I would love to start crafting the Atomos, I'm afraid this is far outside my field of expertise. Fortunately, we know a honest alchemist who would be delighted to involve herself in our House Daemir project. Our business here is concluded for the moment. Please pass on our regards to the forum. Your message will be conveyed. Should you wish to indulge in more forbidden literature, I will be here. Harden mode disabled. Security mode engaged. If anyone can help us, Nadana can. I say we return to Thavnar and look for her at the Great Work. Oh, does this mean we can go back in? Congratulations on locating the object. Yeah. I guess we can't go in. Maybe we can come back later and go in. Okay, the Great Work. Hi, kitty. I'm sure Nadana's gonna be happy. Like, she always seems like she's up for a little adventure herself. All these shallow, sleep-deprived faces, but their eyes still burn with that fiery zeal. Some things never change. Y'shtola tells me you are pursuing a most fascinating study and you want me to be a part of it. I have no doubt you will be interested. This research log should speak for itself. Will it now? By the sisters, this is the mark of House Daemir. I have never knew such a work existed. You should. It was sequestered in Nominon's restricted archives, after all. It was? But that means every word within is forbidden knowledge. A forbidden tome filled with forbidden research, and you would put it into my unsuspecting hand? I can hardly wait to read it! Oh, she's a gem. She really is. To think that Demir was developing such marvelous techniques so long ago. How many innovations have been lost over the centuries, I wonder? Now that you've glanced over the notes, what say you to helping us build a new Mog Atomos? I say yes, 1,000 times yes! Work on a Demir project that has even the redoubtable scholars of Sharlayan trembling in their sandals? No alchemist of the great work could resist. You are a woman after my own heart. Oh, I suppose I should ask, what do you mean to do with this big-mouthed simulacrum once we've built it? Rescue Vrtra's sister. So there's a secret void gate, and it's sealed in the ruins at the bottom of the bounty. Today is a day of revelations indeed. If the purpose of our man-made Atomos is to expand this hidden portal, then I will need to see it for myself, I think. Manipulating rift-spanning apertures is not the sort of thing you want to attempt without first taking into account every single factor. Then by all means, accompany us to the vaults. I plan to lead us back there shortly once we finish gathering the components I require. For what? Sharlayan's markets provided the raw aquamarine and pure water crystals, but I might need help obtaining a small quantity of astrally infused water. For such a liquid, you need go no further than the font of Maya. The ascetics of old once favored the place for their meditations, and the water which pools there now is known to enliven the flow of ether. That sounds perfect. If you'd be so kind as to fill a flask at the pool, I will petition Vrtra to join us. The idea I have in mind won't amount to much without his authority to command the Void Gate. Shall it be about it then? We meet back here anon. What are you planning, Y'shtola? You're kind of worrying me here. Okay, so... there's no greater joy than having a new puzzle to ponder. I think she and I would just get along great. Like, we all need a friend like Nadana. Like that best friend who knows that you probably shouldn't do it, but she'll help you do it just because she wants to have like some kind of excitement or something. Yeah, it's like that old saying I heard, like, a good friend will be, like, if you're in jail, a good friend would be the person that you call up and try to get bail out of. But your best friend would probably be sitting right side by side with you in the vault saying, that was awesome. Oh, I don't even remember where I heard that saying before, but I think it was when I was a kid. And Nadana would probably be the one sitting next to us in our jail cell telling us, yeah, that was amazing, let's do it again! Okay. Oh, there it is. I mean, I don't think this is a good place to be. I mean, the water is green. I mean, that can't be good, right? Oh, that was fast. Archon Y'shtola requested that I join you, but of her plan she offered scant detail. Oh, I forgot to mention, the Front of Maya attracts aggressive wildlife, and you should watch out for them when, you go there next time. My apologies. It's not like we haven't been there before. Oh, Stydian. The boy Mirad was glad to hear the news of the Foundation. It means a new life for him and his sister. Aww. Do you have that flask for me? Yes, this should suffice. Thank you, Claire. Okay, so that's the end of another quest. So I think we have only 2 left. So, Void Theory. But I think we'll save that for the next time. So I think that the next video will probably be our last one for the main scenario for 6.1. That was a lot of fun. I'm glad that we got to see like the restricted section of the library. And I mean, this actually puts my mind like into overdrive of like the lore and everything, like all these possibilities with Atomos, and it's such a simple idea. I can't believe I had never thought about it before, but yeah, I think that's going to be it for right now. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you're all looking forward to next time for joining me and Claire in our little journey through Eorzea. So until next time, everyone, this is Fantasy Girl signing out.